family, you already know what time it is. It's Mom Bear Prepping. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, we just talk about preparedness, emergencies, natural disasters, different things that could happen to you and your family, and being ahead of those things, being prepared. Really, all I do is just talk to you about what me and my family do, hopefully give you ideas, and of course, I get ideas from you as well. Okay, so let's get into it. So today, oftentimes, especially as of late, I have wondered how people are making it, right? I have wondered, how are people, like, I see prices, and me and my family are blessed. We are in an upper tier if you talk about the world, right? And the median of what the world and the average family makes. We're in that upper bracket. But I tell you what, going to the store hurts my soul, okay? It hurts my soul trying to fathom paying some of the prices for items that I've seen. And these are items we bought all the time. These are items that I've never even blinked buying. Oftentimes in the past, I would just buy stuff, right? I don't know if that makes me sound, bougie or whatever, but I would just go to the store. I had my money that I made. We needed things, I would simply buy them. Yes, I would look at prices, but I wasn't going like super out of my way for sales. I wasn't going super out of my way to really see and understand what I was paying for stuff, right? I might glance at the price, but it was, it was so normal and it was so acceptable, the price, that I just buy things, right? Especially food. Oftentimes in the past, I would not even budget food. I would budget an amount to pay for food, but we would just buy food, right? And so now that's completely different. I'm looking at prices. I've cut certain things out that we've bought in the past on a regular basis, that I've cut way down. And to be honest, it's some of the things that I didn't expect to do, right? We've cut back on beef because beef has gone through the roof. I expect beef to go through the roof even more. And that's just going off of, yes, what's going on. That's happening because of what's happening to farmers. There's an issue with that because of what's just happening in general around the country, with this whole dynamic of like, let's not eat animals anymore. Let's just have this fake meat, right? But it's crazy because, and I always took beef outside of like steaks and things like that to be like the lesser of meats, if you will, right? When you compare it, like even chicken, to me and my family, that was more upscale. Salmon, right? But you just can't do it anymore, right? And so what's happening is, this is what I think people are doing. I think to survive, you have a lot of families that are coexisting together, right? You have families that are getting together and having dual and 2 and 3 generations live together and come together for rent. I think you have more roommate situations happening, right? I think you have people downscaling, right? That were living a certain lifestyle and have pulled back and have said, hey, we don't need this big house. We're going to scale back and do this. You have a lot more people thinking about homesteading and off-grid and scaling back in the sense of being and living a simpler life, right? Because we don't necessarily need all these things that we say we need, right? So I think you have a lot of people doing that. I think, unfortunately, you have a ton of people who are just getting further in debt, right? To me, if you have credit cards, people who have credit cards, to me, that is just a form, now not for everybody, but a form of preparedness, right? It's a level of comfort that you have, so that if something happens in your home, even if something is extreme as you lose a job, or it's just, whatever happens, right? And you need something, you've got that extra layer to fall back on, to pay bills or to buy items you need or to buy food. And I think that what people are doing is they're simply maxing out those credit cards, or they're getting new credit cards, they're getting new credit, and they're using that to live, because it is hard right now. It's hard for the food prices, inflation. You talk about the gas prices and what people are paying to heat their homes, and electricity bills and gas bills. It is getting out of control, and everything is going up. Even companies who would like to stay to their core values of not overpricing and really having the lowest prices and things are struggling, because they're having to send out those notices. They're having to send out those emails stating, hey, the price is going up, the price is going up. Even let's take apps, for example, TV apps to watch shows, it doesn't matter what they are, Netflix, Hulu, all these different pluses, right? Those became a thing because budget wise, finance wise, they were you could get a couple of those and much cheaper than, let's say, a cable, right? Having cable and having all this extra stuff, and you had to pay for all these extra channels and stuff, right? But even that, something as simple as that were these low price points, and yeah, maybe you've had them for apps for a year, or you've had them for a while, whatever, they're going up, right? And some people are locked in, but it's just a matter of time before your time is up, and then that price is going to go up. And for us, for people that have actually had some of these apps for a long time, that you would think that loyalty of being a long-term customer would get you, and no, it's every day I turn around and I got a new email saying, hey, this app is going up by $1 or $2 a month, you know? And you say, hey, that's not that much, but when you add it all together and you're doing your monthly budget, that stuff adds up, okay? And so you're having to decide to cut this stuff. Yes, that's always been kind of a financing budget thing, to just, hey, just start cutting things like that, right? That you don't need. Those coffees you're buying, those extra apps, maybe subscriptions that you're not even using, right? That gym subscription that you still have that comes out every month that you're not even going and utilizing, that type of stuff, right? So I think people are living off of rolling debt, those money that they're able to get, whether it's personal loans or whether it's credit cards, you know. I think that a lot of us, if you were a family that lives like us, that prepares, you were living off of preps. When we got here back in January, right, we're going on almost a year now, right? And we got hit with the house. The house had to get back to its prime, right? We had a ton of regular maintenance that had to be done. We had some major projects that had to be done, major septic overhaul. We had a lot on our plates, financially, physically, just mentally, everything. It was about the house. And everything came to a halt. Prepping, my regular schedule of going out and picking up the little things here and there to just top off preps, to fill holes, right? Me, scouring and just figuring out and listening to other people and researching and watching the news and seeing what's going on and just kind of deciphering, oh, what's the area maybe that I need to concentrate on and fill holes, or what's the next big thing that was a bigger purchase that we need to concentrate on. That all came to a halt. And we started literally, and I didn't even realize it for probably 2 or 3 months until hubby was like, you haven't really done any shopping. And it was true. I hadn't even really gone out and done like real grocery shopping, because we were literally living off of, pressure canned food, preserved food, our preps. We were using the things, the toiletries, we were using what we had. We weren't going out and replacing, toilet paper, tampons, toothpaste, body wash. We weren't going out and replacing, where I would be filling holes and replacing and have a set kind of budget. Hey, I'm going out and I'm doing maybe a couple grocery hauls a month or something. That came to a halt, and I didn't even realize it. We were literally just living life, concentrating on this one thing. All the money was going towards that. And we never made a conscious decision like, oh, we have to spend the money on this. We can't spend it on preps. We just didn't have the time or the mental capacity. We were worried and concentrating on one thing. And it wasn't until several months into that I realized, we were just living life, but just living off of preps. And I know that a lot of people right now that prepared are doing the same thing, right? You're not freaking out having to run out and get, let's say, body wash because you guys run out because you have another bottle. But I know in the back of your mind, you're thinking, wow, this stuff is dwindling down, right? I'll give you another example. Last year, where we went through really, really heavy flu season, possibly COVID. It was probably COVID. I mean, the house was down for like 2 months. It was insanity. And we literally went through everything that we had in our preps that was labeled cold medicine, over-the-counter this, the syrups, the sprays, the cough medicine, everything. We went through everything, okay? And I had quite a bit, okay? But it was depleted, okay? Meaning nothing left by the time we got through that sickness, right? And so I think that there's something to be, that needs to be thought about. That I think that it's important and it's valuable that you're able to just calmly grab something off the shelf, right, and just live off of that in the meantime while we are going through this inflation time. But I think things are going to get worse. You know, there are talks of the banks closing, there's talks of, you know, a crash, there's talks of these more serious things that are coming down the road. And so I think that it needs to be, take a minute and just breathe and see, reconnect with what you have. For those of you that haven't organized some stuff or put preps away or put things in their place, do that. And then calmly take an inventory. Really think about what are the things you guys have been, and it's a way for your family to deal with what's going on right now, but what have you just been kind of using, right? And you're using it up, and what is dwindling down, because you might be surprised where you have holes where in your mind, you know, a few months ago you'd have been like, oh, we're doing good in that area, and now it's completely depleted, or it's getting close to being depleted, because getting stuff now is still important, because those prices are going to continue to go up. So something you buy today is going to cost you less than buying it tomorrow. And so it's still important to keep going with those stockpiling the things you need. I know it's a way to kind of work through what we're doing now, but don't lose the end game goal of being ready for the really, like, no kidding, no bull, chaos event, black swan event, something major happens that and then you're standing there holding the pot wondering, you know, why did I let this stuff get down, right? I think it's amazing that we're in a position where you can do that. But then you're doing that, and then you get to a point where you're not able to replenish, whether the stuff's not on the shelves. You know, there's a lot of products you can't even get anymore, right? You literally, you know, your flavor of whatever, maybe it's a coffee creamer, maybe it's a type of potato chip or crackers or whatever, and you can't get it anymore, right? And that's not to be like, how dare I can't get something I used to get, but you have to evolve, you have to adapt to what's going on around you, and pay attention. And there's going to be changes, right? You and your family might make changes where you're like us, you're going to cut back on the ground beef recipes and you're going to replace it. It's sad when sometimes turkey meat, which used to be kind of a superior meat, ground turkey is, you know, less expensive than ground beef. I mean, that was like the lowest of the meats in my eyes as far as just your easy ground meat to grab for a dinner meal, right? And it's just not the case anymore. So you've got to adapt with what's going on. I think that our people like us, that think like us, think creative. You're a creative soul to have the capacity to kind of think past and look past what's going on the surface, and to want to know and delve deeper into things. And this is no different. You're going to continue to do that, but don't get wrapped up in I guess getting yourself, because you're handling what's happening now, that you go too far with it and you deplete your stuff, because now you're in the final stages. You've got to keep the foot on the pedal. You've got to continue to get your stuff, continue to get your food, water, meds, continue to look at your list, take your list, put them all together, prioritize if you have not, and really take a look at what you have left and continue to get those things, and really take a good hard look and inventory of what you have to ensure that you haven't blindly, just by living life, have not depleted something that you haven't even realized. I'm telling you, it was like 2 or 3 months in that it took hubby to just say that one day to me, and I was like, wow, like I really haven't I hadn't done a grocery haul. And when I say grocery haul, I just mean normal groceries for like the week, right? I hadn't really done that. Went and got onesie twosies of dairy type stuff, right, for everyday stuff. But everything else was coming from what we had from our preps. And so I wasn't going out and doing, you know, the average $200, $300 grocery, trip. I wasn't doing it at all. And I didn't even realize it because I was so focused on these other things that we were doing. So I don't know what you guys are talking about right now in the live chat. Hopefully you guys are chatting it up. You guys always have tons of great ideas. Hopefully you guys have been sharing in the chat and in the comments for anybody that watches this later. Just kind of like, what are you and your family doing to get through things, right? Anything that you've noticed. One thing was when I was thinking about this topic, You know, I mentioned me using my preps and not even realizing it. I mentioned us being sick and depleting that stuff last year. I had a subscriber who had a child that got in an accident, their son or daughter, I cannot remember, so forgive me, but got into a serious accident and had to be mended back, right? And they literally were thankful. She was thankful because they had everything in their preps that they needed, all the extra gauze and bandages and different things to, you know, get that child on the mend and get their body, you know, back to, but they depleted everything. She thought she had so much stuff in regards to medical stuff, medical gauze, tape, stuff like that, Neosporin, all the things, right? And after going through that situation, it depleted, right? And so the second thing to that is don't underestimate the amount of certain items you might need. Certain things you need to take a look at your family and things that you guys use on a regular basis, and then really make sure you have those things. Like what are for real the things that you absolutely need to have? Like you're like, look, we go through Neosporin, people are always getting cut or whatever, and I have to have it. I need it, and we use it. You need to have a ton of that, and don't underestimate the amount of that. You know, a lot of people get medical stuff, medical gauze, tapes, wraps, things like that. But when you're actually dealing with somebody, and I'm sure all the nurses and doctors can talk about this in the chat room, that you go through that stuff like crazy. Okay. And so you're going to need that stuff. I'm learning that right now at being a caregiver, is those little things, you know, you think about, yeah, we got pads, we got diapers, we got this, we got that, but you don't realize how much you truly use of something until you have to, okay, until it's time to use it. And then you realize you deplete it and you're like, wow, we really used a lot of that. And so now I have a clearer picture of what I actually need to stockpile for a rainy day, the amount of stuff I actually need, right? Instead of like, oh, I just need a tote of diapers. No, baby, we need more than a tote of diapers, of adult diapers. Okay, so that's just something to think about. Take a look at your inventory. I think it's one of the most important things that you could be doing right now, is taking a look at that inventory and seeing where you stand with stuff, and trying to change gears. If you are a family that's just trying to survive, you know, you're just trying to survive, you're putting stuff on credit cards, you're trying to get the preps, you're using your preps, right? You're trying to save money and use the money for bills, and you're using your preps, and that's great. I mean, this is what it's for, right? However, do not get to a point where you have depleted stuff, and then we get to a point where something happens and you're not able to, you know, secure that stuff again. Okay. So make sure slowly but surely that you're making time to fill those holes and fill those things where you can, because I get it. If you're doing it to save money, I get that. But keep that in mind as you get stuff, so that as you make those budgets and you are able to get small things, that you're getting the things that you guys have actually been using up, so that it doesn't get to a point where it's depleted. Okay. Especially if it's something that you realize now that you're using a lot of. Okay. So I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys are getting excited, thinking about Thanksgiving, what you're going to cook for Thanksgiving, where you're going to eat for Thanksgiving, whatever you're doing. We go big. Obviously, look at me. We eat a lot. You know, families here, we have friends coming in, we have more family coming in, so it's going to be a nice Thanksgiving. It's going to be lovely, and I hope your guys is going to be good as well. Check out my video I did yesterday. You know, I did a review on Contingency Medical, which is another company that you can go and get antibiotics from. Amazing company. Check that out. Especially even those of us that have gone with other companies and got stuff, just think about, this is another company that you can then get another kit and stockpile that. Okay, so it's an opportunity for you and your family to get even more antibiotics into your home. Okay, so when you get a chance, take a look at that. Also, I've been getting a lot of emails of little requests like, hey, I watched an old video of yours and I was wondering where I could get this. Where did you get that? I see you have this. You guys, I have in the description box of every single video my Amazon influencer page. You go on there, it says Amazon storefront, I think. You click on that. I do get a commission, okay, if you end up clicking on that and buying through there. But it's going to take you to Amazon and you're going to log in. But I have folders set up already where you can click on it. Like water preparedness, for example. Click on that and it will have linked items, all the things that I talk about, okay? And I have that for the books. I've been getting a lot of questions about my books, a lot of questions about water stuff, circling back, water questions. Again, I did a whole week of water videos. So most of those questions, if you watch the entire water series, you'll get your answers in those videos. But a lot of the stuff, as far as stuff like where do I get stuff or links to stuff, those are built in folders. I have a ton of stuff. Grid down, basically every section of grid down, I have a folder with links of different things, buddy heaters, whatever it is, okay? So take a look. You just can go on, click, see what I have, and then you can go into your own Amazon. You don't have to support me in that way if you don't want to. Go into your own, link, find it, because now you know the name of it, find it yourself and order it, okay? So this is not a plug for you to order through me, okay? So be well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care.